Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another podcast with the Transfer Portal CFB presented by No Context CFB. It's week 7. I'm not going to talk about how fast the season's gone by. That's kind of old to talk about at this point. We're flying by, so get on the track and race with us till the very end, and we'll figure out who's in the playoff at some point. Don't really care who makes it, just enjoying the show. And for this show, got a very special guest today, Mr. Cole Adams, 68.7K subscribers on the YouTubes. No biggie. What's up, Cole?
You're
How
too
you doing?
kind. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to talk football, man. We got games already tonight. Tuesday football is here. Tuesday football is here.
We do. And by the time this podcast comes out, those 3 games will be over. So maybe at the end, we could just give some very awful predictions about the stuff that will happen in the Tuesday night games and probably be wrong. But, what can you do? You should. I think we focus too much on people being wrong. Let's focus more on being right. That's more
Exactly.
fun.
Exactly.
So let's get a lot of stuff right this week. Let's see at the end for our guest picker picks if you can, take the reins right now. Eric
We'll see.
Edholm is at 8-2, so you need a 9-1 slate to get to the top there.
That's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough. It's a tough slate of games to pick from. I guess Edholm might have got a cupcake week. Well, I can't wait to talk week 7 with you, man. And
Yeah.
again, y'all listening, please subscribe and like this video, and then go over to Cole's channel and subscribe to him. That's very important.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. But make sure you hit the subscribe button here first. Obviously.
Yeah, but then hit it over there second.
Yeah.
All right, man. So the first thing is just that first thought when you look at the week 7 slate, and for me, it's pretty simple.
Okay.
It's just I don't know. I think I used this one last week too. I'm not gonna lie. The slates are just too uneven on Saturday, and I'm not understanding why this keeps happening. The morning slate is very lackluster. The afternoon slate, it's fine because it gives Washington, Oregon the rightful attention that it deserves. But then you get to nighttime, and there's 6, 7, 8 games that I want to watch. I don't have that many eyes. I can't watch that many games at once, contrary to belief. And it's the second straight week now that maybe it's the third straight week. I don't know. It just keeps happening where it could be a month straight where there feels to be a void of Pac-12 after dark, which doesn't make sense because it's so electric. Just let Arizona and USC talk to you about that. So where are those games at? We have one game starting at 7 p.m. Pacific or later this week, and it's at 8 p.m. Pacific because it's on the island in Hawaii against San Diego State. Why not put UCLA Oregon State as that late night 7 o'clock, 7:30 Pacific game? Why not? I think Washington, Oregon probably should have been a night game too.
It should be. I agree.
That should have got primetime ABC, not Miami,
exactly.
North Carolina. But exactly. I don't know. Arizona, Washington State, should that be on Pac-12 Network at 4? No, that should be a 7 o'clock game. Fox Sports 1, ESPN 2. I don't care what network. I don't know what's going on with that. So that's my first thought. I'm getting very annoyed with this stuff. Wyoming Air Force, we couldn't have that banger be at 7 on Fox Sports 1. Come on. Very annoyed by it.
Now I will say this as an East Coaster, okay? I like to be able to go to bed at a decent time, not have to stay up until 2:30 a.m., which I like to do every once in a while during the season, like the Colorado game, or even Arizona and USC. I'm fine with staying up late for those, but to do it every week, it's a little, it catches up to you, especially on the NFL Sunday when you get the game starting early too. But we're a college football podcast here, so we're going to stick to the best sport, which is college football. But I will say, the slate's uneven. That's frustrating. The big noon kickoff games always screw everything up when it comes to getting the big time primetime games. It's really frustrating, especially as somebody that lives in the Midwest, and I like to go to Ohio State games. It sucks that all their games are on at noon, basically. But Yeah, I do think that Oregon and Washington, that's the most excited game for me. The one actually really, like we said, the number one thing I'm looking forward to though this weekend is the state of Oregon. Like that's where my eyes are this weekend. I'm excited for both those teams, Oregon and Oregon State. Well, Oregon's on the road, obviously, but those two programs and really just football up there in the Pacific Coast. Like I'm excited to see what goes on up there.
There's doing good football out there in the PNW. The whole West Coast is just playing really good football, and I'm glad that other people are getting to see that. And there's stuff happening that suggests people are paying attention. Michael Penix Jr. today just became the leader, odds-on favorite to win the Heisman, like plus 220.
Yeah.
Kale's at plus 225. I was not expecting to see that today.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
Imagine saying that 3 years ago. I mean, he was always good, but it's just like the Indiana quarterback, Heisman. You know, it's crazy. And
injuries that he's dealt with.
Yeah, even the injuries for sure.
Like he's one of the like best success stories in the sport. I think just
absolutely
how he's handled everything. I mean, he's turned himself from a complete forgotten guy to like, yeah, I'll have a solid career at Indiana and be off. And I mean, who knows? Why are we going to be talking about him in like 2028? Probably not. He's now turned himself into legit Heisman winning threat. One of the best players in the country, bar none, controlling the best passing attack in the country, and a potential first-round draft pick that has a very bright future ahead of him, regardless of how old he is. What was he, 24? So, like, who cares? Quarterbacks get drafted at age all the time now, regardless of the injuries he's dealt with. Like, such a good story.
Yeah, and I mean, no pun intended, but that's why I love the transfer portal, is because of players like him being able to go from Indiana to a place like Washington and to be, to cement his legacy and become just an all-time great college football quarterback with only 2 years of being able to showcase it on a big time level at Washington. And I don't know, the transfer portal is not always bad. It's not always bad. You get good stories like this.
It's a very, I suppose it's a mixed bag, because like I'm all for decisions being made. Like let a kid do what he wants. I'm not gonna hate whatever they do is all good in my book. However, like some kids just make the wrong decision, and partly because of their camp and what they're advising them to do. And the portal will sometimes it'll just kind of bite a guy in the butt. Like Dorian Singer going to SC. Not a move that I was very excited about when it happened, because you're transferring to, again, like, good for him making the best decision for himself, or so he believed, but he went to transfer to a school that's got like 38 legit receivers in their receiving room. That's tough competition. And I don't know, he just really hasn't meshed with Kale, but it stinks because he's too talented of a player to go out there and catch like 2 balls every week. Like, I don't know, like he should have transferred somewhere else and been going crazy. Like, go to Oregon. Imagine what he'd be doing in Oregon with Bo. And it's just like, so love the portal. I'm never gonna hate on a kid for the decision that they believe is best, but sometimes, man, it hurts me when I see, because Dorian's not the only one. It just hurts when a kid makes a decision like that was not in their best interest, in my opinion. And then it turns out like, well, unfortunately, they ain't producing like they should.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that, man. It's tricky. The transfer portal is a tricky thing. I can't hate on a kid for wanting to do what they think's best for them, but it also stinks to see kids make wrong decisions based on what other people think they should do, and then end up in a situation where nothing works out for anybody. So
that's not good. But we want these kids to get paid handsomely with NIL and set themselves up for the best success possible, so that NFL eyes are on, and then they're making more millions when they get that NFL draft payday. As we go into our storyline of the week that you're looking at, whether it be something great or terrible, I'm going to stick with the portal here. I'm gonna go with Devontae Walker. I think this is the best storyline to look at. He's playing in prime time on Saturday night. He's playing against Miami. They don't have look if the new NCAA video game has the QB kneel and Cristobal's playbook, like throw the game away. Devontae Walker though, what I mean, like just talking about another good story in college football, and the NCAA wanted to ruin this kid and his family's life for absolutely no reason at all, except the National Clown Association of America had to punish somebody. They had to draw a sheet of paper out from a hat and pick a name, and they landed on two guys, Devontae Walker and Zach Durfee. The Zach Durfee situation is quite awful. Doesn't make any sense. If I need to, I guess I could take this time to educate more people on it.
Please do.
Much like Tez Walker, Zach Durfee, pretty much a one-time transfer. He went to North Dakota State to go to algebra, calculus, whatever classes he was taking, astronomy. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't have his transcripts either. But Zach Durfee went to North Dakota State as a student, then decides one day, still kind of love football. I want to kind of go play football. So he transfers to the University of Sioux Falls, balls out there, and turns that into becoming a very coveted transfer, and then goes to Washington. And it's October 10th, and his eligibility is still up in the air. They haven't said that they've denied it. They haven't said that they've approved it. They just haven't paid attention to the poor kid. Like, what are we doing? That is a one-time football transfer. And it's the same thing with Tez Walker. ETSU pulls their offer because of his ACL tear, so he doesn't get to go there out of high school. Somehow still gets to NC Central, which is very impressive. Doesn't ever get to play there because of COVID. Somehow, some way, despite never playing a down college football in his career, platforms FCS and HBCU schools into a starting job at Kent State. You can't say enough things about how unbelievably impressive that is. Ball's out there. He's on my radar. I think he's one of the best players in the portal when he enters. I think he was the best player in the portal when he entered, especially when we're talking about skill position players. I think he's top 50 NFL draft pick. Gets North Carolina, and the NCAA says, nope. And then for some reason, they finally, after all the bullying, apparently bullying worked in this case, and got the NCAA to be like, okay, we'll approve him. Then the NCAA just decided to flip the blame on North Carolina. What was that about? So after a 6-catch, 43-yard effort against Syracuse in a blowout win, Tez Walker now has the stage. He's got a game under his belt, and he's going to go nuclear against the U. And he's going to score 2 touchdowns in this game, and he's going to have like a 40-plus touchdown bomb on vertical from Drake May that's going to get people oohing and on. And the NFL draft talk is going to be so much back in full force, and everyone's favorite player now. Your favorite player's favorite player might be Tez Walker at this point. Can't wait to see us get ball out. That's my storyline to watch this week. Tez Walker, 2 touchdown day, over 100 receiving yards, take it to the bank, 40-plus yard touchdown.
I love it. I love that you're giving him that platform, and I do believe that he's going to go off too, because that Miami locker room, I don't know how they're going to bounce back from what happened to them. But I mean, yeah, there's nothing else to say. It's bad. But my storyline, I did already kind of spoil it because I brought it up already. It was the state of Oregon, those 2 teams. I'm really excited to see what both Oregon and Oregon State do this weekend. That's kind of where my eyes are going to be, especially as an East Coaster. I'm really curious to see how Oregon does against this Washington offense, because Washington's offense is just so electric. And I don't know, if you asked me to pick a game this college football season that I was most excited for, I think this was probably going to be it. So I'm really excited to see what just happens in this matchup, because I've been waiting all season for it. And Washington looks better than advertised, and Oregon honestly looks better than advertised too. So I'm excited to see just what happens.
It is. I mean, like, this has game of the year potential for so many reasons. The deep-rooted hatred that these 2 programs have for one another. Both passing attacks are lethal. Amazing coaching on both ends. Like, Dan Lanning against Kalen DeBoer, and Ryan Grubb is going to like do as much as he can to just get a big time payday, a blank check from a major school or NFL team after the season. the talent on display. The receivers, there's still good defenders out there. Like there's no shortage of talent in this game. It's going to be a beautiful scene up in Seattle at Husky Stadium.
I know. Wait. I hope the weather's good. I don't know what the weather's projected to be, but I hope they don't get rained on. I just hope it's clear skies. Just battle it out and on the bay. That's what everybody wants to see.
A blizzard for a quarter wouldn't be bad either.
All right. I will say we could get one quarter of some crazy weather, just not the fourth.
Like both teams could score 40 in this game. It's really going to be about which defense gets a stop and then kind of fuels the fire and helps their offense out and just to extend the lead to double digits or something. And I mean, we'll talk about this game and who we pick later, but I can't wait. I think, I mean, what are the AP buffoons got these fellows ranked?
I think 7 and 8, maybe
7 and 8. Like that's too low. I've got Washington at 1. I've got Oregon at 3. I think these are 2 of the best 3 teams in the country.
I agree.
I think they've proved that. And I mean, if for everyone that keeps saying the Pac-12 is the best conference in America, I sure don't see your rankings backing that up.
I know. What are the AP voters doing, man?
They're not watching football.
Yeah. It's time for them to give you a vote.
Not watching. Yeah. I don't know. I think the unfortunate thing here is I think I've shot myself in the foot, and I don't think I could ever get an AP vote because I have thrashed them way too much because I mean, I think it's rightfully so. Like, and I think it's like
which one carries the vote more over from week to week? Is it the coaches or is it the Associated Press? Because it feels like, sometimes they don't really change their rankings based on stuff. They just kind of keep it the same. And it's like, man, it's like, which one's worse though at it? Like that's the question.
I just completely neglect the coaches poll. And Idaho in the FCS coaches poll start the season was ranked like 13th. I thought,
oh wow.
I mean what are those coaches smoking?
I know.
Idaho was clearly a top 4 team entering the season in the FCS, but nonetheless, talking FBS, actually, we will talk about it a little later, but
the Kibbie Dome, it's gonna be rocking.
It is, but like, I just don't understand what these voters be doing. They cling on to what they thought about in June and July and August too much.
That's the worst, is when people don't change their opinions and just try to stick it out. It's like, it's okay to change your opinion. Nobody should know in June and July. Nobody should know. It's
your brain is a good old sponge. Like, soak up all this stuff that you're watching every Saturday and just figure it out and adapt. And what I've said a few times now is I think that my passion gets mistaken for hatred, and I ain't hating. I just so very much want for the sport, who people all across the US now are kind of realizing college football really might just be the best sport that we have. And I know, like, you and I and plenty of other people will agree, but like people who don't live and breathe the sport are starting to share that take. It's nuts to see them. They're respecting the atmospheres and everything, and just they're in awe of the sport. And it's like, we have for the common fan, for so many fans to get a read on if a team is good or not, they go to the top 25 and they take a look and they scan and they say, well, Georgia's at the top, Michigan, Ohio State, and then at the bottom you've got like Kentucky, and well, they must be good. And it's like, I just want the sport to be represented in the best way possible. There ain't no way Ohio State is a top 3 team in the country right now, let alone top 5. There's just no way. It's just
they've got a lot. They've got a lot they need to work on that offense. They have a lot they need to work out.
They do. Instead of bashing them, since I'm getting called the biggest Ohio State hater on the app, which is pretty rich because the last few years I've been told I'm a very big Ohio State homer. Just tell it how it is, I suppose. Let's talk about your YouTube success, because you've been killing it over there.
Oh, you're too kind.
I want you to take the time to talk about your YouTube success, how it began, how it's continued, and some plans that you might have for the future or whatever. Like, just take time to talk about it.
Okay. Well, on YouTube I talk about mainly college football and college basketball. I've tried to narrow my focus down. I'm just a really big sports fan, so I like to talk about really everything in sports, but YouTube algorithm, man, it really wants you to just narrow down and focus in on something. So college sports is it's something I'm really passionate about. And it's honestly my favorite thing to watch is both college football and college basketball. So I talk about college football, and I try to touch on trending topics and just kind of give an opinion on them, make a little bit of a story, make a little bit of a video essay, kind of do that type of thing, whether it's a controversial topic like commercials in college football, or whether it's a amazing topic that everybody loves, which is the Big Ten commercial. Everybody loves the Big Ten commercial. You'll never see anybody hate on it. It's a work of art, and I hope they obviously make the adjustments when Washington, UCLA, Oregon, and USC join. But yeah, I talk about really all sorts of college football topics. It could vary from anything to whether it's Biff Poggi at Charlotte, or I don't know. I really kind of touch on whatever comes to my mind and I find interesting to myself. So that's kind of what I do over there. So yeah, that's what the YouTube channel does. Hopefully I'm able to take it a little bit forward with the season winding down. It's crazy that we're already halfway through, but college basketball season is something I'll be talking about too this year, and I'm just excited for that to be coming soon, which is in a month. So yeah, that's the YouTube channel for you guys. That's what I kind of do over there.
It's very good stuff.
Thank you.
The first time I got familiar with your channel is like 2 people tweeted me that you put me in like your kind of like what to look forward to this season video, and then like 3 people DM'd it to me. I was like, hey,
that's crazy.
Cool. So that was the first time I got familiar with your channel.
More people probably DM'd you that than they DM'd me, which is just hilarious. Yeah, I made a list about like 100 things that I just personally love about college football, and it could vary from things like these schedule posters behind me or Oregon's mascot, Puddles the duck. Like it could vary from anything like that. And one of the things I mentioned was no context college football, because I just find it fascinating how you're able to keep up with everything in the sport, and you're always on it, man. You've always got everything posted instantly. So I find you very impressive. I don't know how you're able to do that, but yeah, so I added you to the list. I did it secretly too. I didn't text or tell you I was going to do it. So yeah.
I forget what number I was, but I scrolled instantly to the part that people told me I was in. It was like that's pretty cool. Let me give this
awesome.
a sub and a follow. And
thank you.
I mean, yeah, like your college football has a massive commercial problem, has 252K views.
Yeah, we could make a whole hour-long podcast just talking about how the commercial problem with college football. Yeah.
The issue is after every like 2 sentences, we have the equivalent to a college football game would be, like if you have the sentence after this, then we're going to commercial, and then we're coming back and it's 3 sentences, and then we're off to commercial. What are we doing? I don't know. I really don't know. You should have you done a video on overtime rules and the 2-point conversion off?
No, I have not done a video about that. I think you're
again.
Oof. Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. God, I can't believe they changed that. All because of that. What was the game? It was
LSU A&M 74-72.
Yeah. Jeez, the rules committee, man.
It doesn't, and it's not. It's like Buffalo. I forget who Buffalo played. They played someone like a week or 2 before that A&M LSU game, where they also went like 7 or 8 overtimes and had high scoring game. And it's just like, why? I don't understand why you would want to take that away from the sport just because of 1 or 2 instances. Like it happened. It's like truly 1 in a million. Like if you had odds at a sports book of a game going to 7 overtimes, what are the odds going to be? Are you literally betting $1 to win like 80K or some ridiculous number? It's like the odds that happens are so slim, and when it happens, it's just pure chaos and pure bliss for college football fans. It's pure.
It's the same thing with a fan. It's the same thing, and it's perfect wearing a hockey jersey. Hockey, real quick, in overtime in the playoffs. Sometimes the games last because of overtime, like nobody scores a goal, the players are tired. But I find those moments awesome, and they don't happen all the time. So they don't need to make a rule change, because it's not like it happens once a year. Like there's one game that just drags on, and to like make a rules change to just impact all of the sport, I I would hate, that's what I get upset with college football is they made the rule change, and it's like it didn't need to really be made because it doesn't happen very often. So
the Jackets Lightning game that went forever, and then of course most recently Panthers Canes, which it was like it's just you cannot. Your eyes are glued to the television. The ratings are good. You cannot look away. The difference in the beginning of the game to the end of regulation to how a crowd sounds when you're at like that fourth overtime in a playoff hockey game or you're in seventh overtime is so nuts. Just the mood changes, the momentum. And again, most recently we just had Arizona SC go to triple OT, and
they're core memories too for people that
they are
you don't often get. And it's like to take that away from rule changes is just dumb because it doesn't happen often. And when it does, everybody remembers it. So like
everyone talks about it. It brings more people to the sport. And
exactly.
Oh my goodness, it's so idiotic.
I hate when they do that. Yeah.
And it also like it just doesn't help an underdog, in my opinion. Like Arizona, well, when you get to a 2-point off, I guess the Big Ten we can exclude Illinois Penn State because the Big Ten is just a gross brand of football. But when you're in a 2-point off like that and you have to go against Caleb Williams every play, well, guess what?
Good luck.
It is a massive talent gap.
Yeah.
So you are now, I forget what the spread was in that game, but you are now punishing that massive underdog so greatly, which then again plays into another thing. It's like, well, why didn't Arizona just go for 2 after they scored a touchdown at the end of the first overtime? It's just I don't have answers for that, but I would just like I just want the sport that we all know and love back. The overtime rules that everyone unanimously said was great blew the NFL out the water, and now I mean you could flip a coin, literally flip a coin a la the NFL. What is worse, NFL overtime or getting to a 2-point off in college OT? They're both awful.
Yeah. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating.
Very, very frustrating indeed, which is perfect because now I want to ask, how do you maximize having the most fun watching college football?
Okay. For me, my number one thing that I love doing is going to games. So like, that's what I love to do. However, you can't always do that. And when I can't, what I like to do is to just have 3 or 4 TVs set up and watch everything and follow on Twitter too, because I feel like the Twitter atmosphere has gotten a lot better on college football. Obviously accounts like yours, and like the Sickos committee, they focused in on making those really niche games that nobody's watching, nobody cares about. They make it into something that matters. Because your big games that you're going to get with like the SEC or the big noon kickoff games, like everybody's watching those. So you could talk to your mom or your uncle or your neighbor about those games, and they probably were watching them. But it's like, was anybody watching Liberty and Jacksonville State? It's like, it's nice to have a community like Twitter or the Sickos or yours, watch that type of stuff. So like, that's something that I enjoy doing is just putting 4 TVs on and then following everything on Twitter. That's kind of what I like to do.
Obviously I also love doing that. I can't really speak to going to games because I have immersed myself into the Twitter galaxy.
It's probably tough for you because you follow everything online and you have to post, and it's like you're probably not able to go to a lot of games. And if you were, it's only the weeknight games, but even then you're still posting about them. So I get that probably is tough.
It is. So the last game that I went to, the Texas Bowl invited me for Ole Miss Texas Tech. So I went and watched that. And I was kind of like, it was sick. It was a really dope experience. And like, I gotta go to the rodeo that they do the day before the game. And like met Lane Kiffin there and got a picture with him, and the rodeo thing was wicked. Like that was actually, I didn't think it would be fun, but it was actually pretty sick. But yeah, like covering that was really dope. But I was like, well, the Holiday Bowl, UNC Oregon, I miss so many good moments.
Yeah, that's the tough thing.
Yeah, and I don't like missing out on that stuff. I really don't. And thankfully, I had someone help me out running the account that day, which I greatly appreciated. And he also did when I had to fly back the next day, and I'm watching Florida State, Oklahoma battle for the Cheez-Its on the airplane TV, which don't love, but
yeah, doing it on a plane too.
Like that's like I don't like having to miss college football.
It is such a tricky balance, man. It's like, because the worst thing too is you go to a game and it's like you don't have service. You know, it's like that's another problem because you can't even follow online or. So it's tricky. But I live in an area. I live in Ohio, so I'm like I've got a lot around me. I don't know where you live, but like for me, I could go. Okay, you live in Vegas, so it's probably tougher to get to places. But for me, it's like I've got all the Big Ten schools near me. I've got Cincinnati near me, and then all the MAC schools. So it's like it's easier for me to go to a game and get home the same day. For you, it's probably pretty tricky, or you got to fly out somewhere.
Yeah, I'm coming into this season. There was one game, and now there's two games, but there was one game that I really wanted to go to. And I kid you not, it's just weeknight action. I believe it's a Wednesday night, and there's only one other MAC game during it, which I'd be fine missing. Hopefully, get someone else to run the account for it. Night. Central Michigan at Ohio. I just kind of wanted to go to that game, and I don't know if I'll be able to. But
I've been to Ohio. Okay. So real quick, I went to an Ohio game, and on my way back, it was a night game. I drove 2 hours through fog the entire time. It was It was horrible, but it's a great atmosphere for the MAC, and it's a pretty cool stadium. So yeah.
And I love that Ohio team, but I don't know. It might be.
Was it this year or was it last year?
Yeah, it'd be this year. It might be tough to pull off though. Then the other game, I mean, I don't love the idea of missing a conference championship. I'd have to miss the Conference USA, which looks like it'll be a pretty fun conference championship. But yeah. It's like I love Western Kentucky. I know they'll be there. It'll probably be Liberty. It's just gonna be a great matchup. But getting to see the final Pac-12 championship, if I could get to that,
is that in Vegas, right?
It is. So it's no trouble at all, aside from like getting credentialed or whatever.
They need to credential you because you have a big impact on college football. So if you don't get credentialed, there's something wrong with the credentialing process.
If someone else could run the account for me that night, so I could watch that live, and hopefully
that needs to happen.
I'm hoping it's Washington, Oregon 2.0.
I would agree with that. Because they're the two best teams all around. Yeah.
As for how I don't even think I have to answer that. I think my Twitter account and everything speaks for itself. That's how I maximize the most fun we'll watch college football. I think eventually though, was talking about with my friend and brother the other week, because he went to Colorado and Oregon, my friend, and he's not even a college football guy, and then he just became all in on college football because of that game, because of the atmosphere, getting to live in that environment. It was like there's nothing better than this. How deafening loud it could get, how deafeningly quiet.
That's why
it doesn't make any sense.
That's why I love college football so much, is because the atmospheres are the closest thing we get to like European soccer or soccer around the world. The atmospheres at college games, because the band, because of the student section, because there's so many factors. It's why I love going to games. So
So what I was talking about with him and my brother, I was like, well, I asked them, like, do you know about the people that'll like road trip out to games every week and go like as many games as possible? I don't want to do that. I think that's a little too extreme. I don't want to live in the car and like drive everywhere. I have zero interest in that.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Interest. If we all make $1 billion, why not one season like go out and just fly to like 2 games a week, like a weeknight game, a Saturday game, and just do that for a whole season, go across the whole country. Like that could be a good way to maximize the most fun having college football. Don't have to deal with the car trips and everything either.
Yeah, the car stuff, it gets to you. I don't know. There's some people that have gone on Like there was a guy last year, he went on a college football tour and he drove everywhere. I think his name was Ben Chase. He did that. Yeah. I don't know how he lived in that car or drove. He drove all throughout the day. Like I could not do that.
And then he was like gang on TV like every single broadcast but by season's end, by that final month and a half, it seemed like. And
well, he earned it because driving all day from Utah to coastal Carolina, I don't know how that's even physically possible.
Yeah, Rodgers doing it now, left his job at the Ringer to do it, which is just crazy to think about. Like it's just one of those literal once in a lifetime opportunities that they'll never forget. So it's cool to see so many people doing that. That'll take us to our next topic, though. The game you want more people to talk about this week. What is the one under the radar game that you just want more people to care about? And I'll start, and I'll give two, because one of them's happening tonight / when you're seeing
same with yesterday. One of my picks. Yeah, same with one of my picks.
Actually, I could give three because I think tonight's slate's crazy. But obviously, Liberty, Jacksonville State,
exactly,
Coastal Carolina, App State. The hatred that those two programs share for one another is so innate, and there's so much good talent on display there. I can't wait to see Nate Noel. Most importantly, because unfortunately the Coastal offense is taking a step back. So I really want to see how Nate Noel at App State thrives. Love his game as a running back. I've thought of him as an NFL prospect for a few years now. I think he really could get to the NFL. I've been hearing like evaluators talk very highly of him, which makes me very happy. And Jordan Favors at safety is just a headhunter and a good ball hawk and could be a good transfer candidate at the end of the season. But the other game I wanted to talk about was actually on Friday too, so it's going to get rightful praise. It's easily the best game on Friday. It's Tulane Memphis. I think that is going to be
that's going to be a war,
seismic game. It's going to be crazy. I think truthfully, we're going to pick this game. I think both teams are evenly matched. I don't know where I'm leaning. Tulane's fair by 4.5. I think the best player on the field in this game is Memphis running back Blake Watson. What he can do is not only a running back, but as an option in the passing game, it's just so dynamic, and it's going to be a 60-minute battle, and it's hard to win at Memphis. Tulane proved me wrong. I thought they would regress this season. They haven't. They might, like, if you match this Tulane team against last year's Tulane team, I legit think I take this year's Tulane team. I just think that they're better all around. I think they're a better all-around team, but I don't know if the success is going to translate to the same level. Like, you can't hit lightning in a ball like that or whatever twice. Like, it's so hard to do. But I don't know. It's like that Tulane defense is so impressive to me. The way that those guys fly to the ball, their closing speed. It's scary, and I cannot wait to watch that matchup between Blake Watson and Tulane's defense that just swarms dudes.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good game, and I can't wait to pick that because I still don't even know where I'm leaning. So yeah. But for me, again, I think tonight, even though this is already going to happen once this releases, because it's easy to forget that there's football on Tuesday already. So it's like. Those are the games I think that are underrated just because one, Liberty and Jacksonville State, they only have one loss between both those teams. And Jamey Chadwell is once again doing his thing, going over to Liberty. I'm a big fan of his, and I thought that he should have gotten bigger looks as a head coach. And I don't really think, Liberty was, one that I always tell my friend this, he's a big Virginia Tech fan. I always thought that Virginia Tech should have looked at him to be their next head coach because I like the offense that he runs, and obviously he's still keeping it up at Liberty. So I'm excited for that game. And I didn't really have another one, but I guess I'll go with the other one that will be tonight too is Appalachian State and the team that Jamey Chadwell coached, Coastal. Coastal hasn't been as good as they were with Jamey there, but that's going to be a great atmosphere between two fan bases that don't like each other. And maybe the leaves have started to turn down there in Boone. I don't know for sure, but it's going to be a good atmosphere anyway. So yeah, those are my two.
Yeah, and just a phenomenal atmosphere that we'll have at both games. And the helmets, that Jacksonville State is wearing tonight/tomorrow. Sorry, tonight/yesterday.
I'll have to
Immaculate
look.
helmets.
I don't know what they look like.
If you want to go on Twitter right now, just check out Jacksonville State's
I think I
football
might
account
have
and just
to.
look. Unbelievable helmets. It's an
Okay.
immaculate uniform. I believe they're going full on whiteout tonight. It's an
Oh boy.
incredible look.
Okay. Like here it is. Here's the reveal. Okay. Yeah.
They're wicked.
Yep. They're wicked. They're wicked. I might have man, they might just win because of that alone.
The
Dang.
helmet is just it truly is immaculate. Like I don't know how else to explain it.
That's nice. That's nice.
All right, man. We weekly thing we do is player focus, one Power 5 player, then one Group of 5 player / FCS player. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. There's one player that I'm fascinated to see this weekend, and it's, can Sam Hartman lead them to a win? You know, like in a big time game that they need, because you know, Sam Hartman, he was a Heisman contender like 3 weeks ago, and now like the team's just completely fallen apart, and it's like they could really redeem themselves if they beat USC, and they need him, and he's supposed to be the guy that can like lead them. And I think their offense needs to just produce more, like especially having him as your quarterback. Like he really needs to take over the game. That's kind of like, that's the one player I'm really curious about, because I think that Notre Dame's just they're in a crisis mode at the moment, and things could go very south if they lose this game and they can't produce on offense. And if Sam Hartman's the guy that he has been hyped up to being, and because of his age and his experience, he really needs to come through for them in that game. So that's my guy. That's who I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what he does this weekend.
I think that's a very good pick. Do you have a Group of 5 or FCS player that you're looking forward to as well?
I'll give you another quarterback. It's Michael Pratt. Is he going to lead them to the win over Memphis? You know, I got to stick with the quarterbacks because I just feel like they have, you know, they control a lot of the game just because they have the ball in their hands the whole game. So it's like, I'm going to go with Michael Pratt in that game too, because that's going to be a war, and that's going to come down to the end. And I think that Michael Pratt's going to have the ball in his hands, and he's going to be the big factor in if they win or lose that game. So they're my two guys for you. Hopefully I didn't steal anybody from you.
No, you didn't. I'm going to be honest, man. Last year, 2 years, so last 2 years, like, yeah, I've done my like notes before and stuff. I haven't done any notes at all for any podcast this season, and I haven't done any like player focus or anything. I don't know who I'm picking until we get there.
Yeah.
Picking Devontae Walker.
That's a great pick. Yeah.
Talk about him earlier. Then so I'm not gonna like add many more words to it. I kind of gave the prediction. I think 100 plus receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, and a touchdown catch of 40 plus. My other pick, going to the FCS, I want to go to one of the 2 best players in the FCS. I think it's one, William and Mary's John Pius, who's going to be a legit NFL draft prospect, and then 2, Idaho wide receiver Hayden Haddon, do it all. I thought he might have hit the portal after last season and gone to maybe like an Arizona State. He's a Scottsdale kid. I thought the fit made sense. It's by far easily the best receiver. Okay, sorry, not easily, because Ty James at Mercer is a star in his own right. I think he is also a top 5 player in the FCS. He and Hayden Haddon, the 2 best receivers in all the FCS. Hayden Haddon's a special player who is reminiscent to Cooper Kupp in a sense, because he does it all. It's not about, so as a kid that for some reason spent college football Saturdays with one TV watching Eastern Washington at times, just for Cooper Kupp and Vernon Adams, and like neglecting like top 25 matchups that were on because I want to watch Adams and Kupp. I see some of the same things with Haddon I saw with Kupp. I don't do player comparisons or anything. I hate that stuff.
Yeah, you too.
It's the do it all, the focal point of the offense. If the ball is in that guy's hands, we know that we have the best player out there and that he's just going to make a special play happen. And so Idaho unblocks so much elite potential from Haddon, whether throwing him a ball on a strike downfield or a quick slant, or hey, end around, boom, trick play, Haddon's throwing the ball downfield, and you know it's going to be a precise touchdown throw. Like he's got a great arm. And that reminds me of Cooper Kupp, because I could remember Cooper at Eastern Washington ever so often would take an end around, would end up throwing the pass downfield, and it's a good strike. And those two guys just there's just something about elite receivers in the big sky and just being do-it-all guys, and both of them are. And I mean, I can't say enough good things about Cooper Kupp, obviously, and his career has gone nuclear. I don't foresee that same all-worldly, all-galaxy level, shout out Mark Helfrich, success from Hayden Hadd. I think he could be a solid NFL pro, and I think more people should get to know the name and have their eyes locked down on him on Saturday night, because Vandal's playing on national TV, man.
Yeah, I saw that, because that's one of the games we're picking. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to actually watch this, because what's it on ESPNU, I think? And
I think it's on ESPN too. I
could be wrong. It's even better. Okay.
But
well,
dude,
I enjoyed listening to you talk about the FCS a little bit, because I certainly haven't kept up with the FCS this year, and you just went on and you just did your thing, and props to you, man. You've done your homework. I could not tell you anything about the FCS at the moment besides the Idaho game, because we're going to talk about it.
It is ESPN too.
That's awesome. That is awesome. The Kibby Dome is back on national television. Let's go.
Massive.
Everybody wants to see that. Let's go.
We do. These big sky games, man. Like, I think that FCS games should get more national TV love. Like, I think North Dakota, South Dakota State should be on ESPN2 like every season. I would play the game on Friday night. Every season I play the game on Friday night, ESPN2 every year. Get the most eyes on that possible. The FCS has so many unbelievable matchups that should be on national TV every week. Like, throw it on ESPN News, ESPNU. I don't know. They need to be on TV, though. So when we get into that October, November part of the season, the Big Sky, who has done a great job of promoting themselves and elevating their brand, they're the best conference in FCS. Like, now, like, we could say that, I think, unanimously, which is so impressive to think about, because the stranglehold that the MVFC had on it, like, the Big Sky being able to platform that league and get these games on national TV, it's so impressive. You watch like Brawl of the Wild, Montana State last year, I believe I believe that was on ESPN2. The snow,
the snow.
It is
magical.
It is, and one of the best games, I think, of the entire 2022 college football season was Incarnate Word, Sacramento State, ESPN.
Yes, I know exactly.
ESPN2 playoff game.
Yeah.
I forget the final score. Maybe it was like 63-61 or something.
It was something around that. I remember that game. Yes.
Yeah, we talked about that game in depth on our preview. It was 66-63 Incarnate Word one. We talked about that game in depth on our preview. And
that's where I'm a Patriots fan. So Marte Mwapu came from Sac State. So there's a guy, and big impact on that game too. Well, not really, because the defense let up so many points, but it was a great game. I remember that. Yeah,
like Lindsey Scott was so good in that game, and we talked about that game in depth leading up to it, and we made predictions. And I believe it was me and our guy Andrew Wilson, who's no longer with the transfer portal, but is doing great things in another part of the college football industry. But we both we did our FCS playoff prediction show, and we both had Incarnate Word in the Final Four, and we were like, well, our brackets are very similar. There's just no way that this stuff's gonna work out. But then we started talking about that game, and we were like, we both agree. I think there's gonna be 100+ point score in this one, and we undersold it.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a crazy game.
It was. I mean, I forget who it was. One of the players on Sac State took a fan's beer and pour it on them after. It's just, the FCS is different. I can't wait to talk about Montana, Idaho at the end of this, but we'll make some game picks now, starting with Tulane, Memphis. Personally, I don't know where I'm going.
I can start for you.
Okay.
I'll start. I'm going with Tulane because I said Michael Pratt, the ball was going to be in his hands at the end of the game. So I'm going with Tulane in that. And I do think it's going to be close. And I really could go Memphis here because I know those weeknight games Memphis seems to always get. And it's always a crazy atmosphere there. So I could really see them pulling this out, but I'm going to trust Michael Pratt to get the job done.
You saying Michael Pratt the ball at the end of the game puts a very bad memory into my head of a few weeks ago, Navy at Memphis, when Navy got hosed by the Chain Gang. So give me Memphis banking on, if this is a close game, the refs, the Chain Gang, to maybe their zebra stripes are a little Memphis Tiger.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a good point. That is a good point. We have to go a little different on some of them. So
we can't pick the same 10. Although somehow, some way, I'm second in the standings, which I've been very bad the last 2 seasons, like bottom of the barrel. So I don't know how I'm up there right now. Georgia Southern, James Madison is next. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Taking James Madison. This is the prototype of, if you're an FCS school moving up to the FBS, this is the level that you want to replicate. It's as simple as that. James Madison learned from App State. Jacksonville State is possibly learning from James Madison. Next up, another program will be learning from Jacksonville State and James Madison and App State. Like James Madison, they are a special program whose best years are way down the road. These guys could easily be in the Power 5 conversation when we're talking about the next realignment.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you as well on that one. I think that James Madison wins. You basically said exactly what I believe too. So I'm going to follow you with that one. James Madison, the Dukes.
I am surprised that one's only a 4.5 point spread. I am.
Okay. Interesting.
Next up, Oregon, Washington. Boy. Yeah,
the game of the year for us, right?
is I think that this could go either way. I truly do think that this could go either way. But coming into this season, I was just higher on Washington than really anyone else in the Pac-12. I was just higher on them. I kept telling people, if you're so high on USC, then you should be 10 times higher on Washington, because they're That's just SC with a better defense.
Yeah.
So I've been riding this Washington train. I ranked them number 1 earlier than other people. I ranked them number 4 to start the season, which preseason polls, I hate them. Who cares? Only did it because of water gun to my head, whatever. I've believed in this Washington team. I picked them to make the playoff. I think that they're a national championship contender, best passing attack in the country. I'm going to take Washington.
Respect. I am going to take Oregon. I'm taking Oregon. And I know this is tough. It's like picking your children, because I love both of these teams. They're great for the sport. Like everything about what they do, I love. They're not annoying teams to me. I enjoy watching them play, but I'm going with Oregon because I feel like I've been a little bit more impressed with them all around as a team. And maybe the defense and Dan Lanning is going to be able to come up with something to slow down this Washington offense. I don't know. This is one of those where I could go either way. And I want to pick Washington because I do agree with you on a lot of your points that you make. I do believe they are a playoff contender. And obviously, if they run the table, they should make it. But I'm just going to go with Oregon because Bo Nix, he's got to get his Heisman this year, man. The campaign, they've done too much campaigning for him not to back it up in a game like this. So I'm going to go with Oregon. There you go.
They've done campaigning by way of their paid advertisements, bodacious, and they've done campaigning, whether they knew it or not, by the Auburn meme that was born many years ago. This is having fun, man. This is the year he can win the Heisman, perhaps. What a drastic. Also, I will say this: if you do think Oregon wins this game, I don't know what the odds are right now because I haven't been paying attention. Maybe you look at Bo Nix, a bet on Bo Nix to win the Heisman if you're thinking that Oregon wins this game, because right now we know, as we said, Penix is the odds-on favorite now. If Oregon wins this game, Bo Nix is going to have a big game. Probably gonna be the Heisman favorite if Oregon wins this game. He's plus 450 right now. It's looking like.
So it makes me wonder if we're going to get a commercial during the game for the Heisman campaign. Could we see that? I don't know. We've seen Prime commercials with Colorado. Might get a commercial in there with Bo Nix. You never know.
Think you're on to something. We'll go on to SEC country, Texas A&M, Tennessee. I'm just rolling with Texas A&M. I think that they're a better team than Tennessee. I'm not in on Tennessee at all. I think that they are very overrated. I don't think that they should be ranked. I was lower on them entering the year. I'm pretty sour on them. I think the spread of 3.5 says all you need to know. That is a Tennessee team playing at home. There's only a 3.5 point favorite against A&M, and Jimbo Fisher's reign potentially over at some point in the next few years. I think A&M had a really good shot to beat Alabama last week, and they kind of just simple mistakes. They crystal-balled different areas of the game before crystal-balled Miami later that night. As for Tennessee, their passing attack is not always in sync, and that worries me. Joe Milton has a rocket arm, 99 arm strength. The accuracy it could be at 24 or it could be at 88. You never know what you're getting on a rep-to-rep basis. I want to take what I think is the more consistent option in Texas A&M. I love their pass rush. Evan Stewart at wide receiver. I don't know if there is a more gifted player. I feel like I say it every week, but truly Evan Stewart, football is so effortless for him, and it blows my mind.
Okay, I think this is a night game in Knoxville.
It is 3:30.
Oh, 3:30? It's a 3:30
Eastern.
Okay, that does change things a little bit. I want to go with Tennessee here because I just don't trust Jimbo Fisher. And I couldn't tell you the last time that Tennessee's lost at home. Was it 21? Because I don't think they lost at home. That atmosphere is crazy. And that's something that I factor into what I believe will happen. But that pass rush, I mean, if they start getting to Joe Milton and they make him uncomfortable, he's not going to have time to get the ball off, and then he's going to be throwing he's going to have that 20% completion rather than the 88% completion that you were talking about, despite having a massive arm. So I don't know. You might have talked me into Texas A&M, but I'm going to go with Tennessee because I just trust them that they're at home, and I just cannot for the life of me trust Texas A&M, and that's it. Very fair. I do think that Texas A&M though is a better all-around team. Like that's for sure. But that's the thing with them every year is like they have a lot of talent. They just can't ever put it together. So, but they did play pretty well against Alabama, and they probably should have won. It's just some critical errors that they made, like they always do. So, but Tennessee is who I'm picking. There you go.
Word. Next up is a big clash in the Mountain West. Air Force is a 10.5 point favorite against Wyoming. I was already prepared to take Air Force. I have them ranked 25. I have Wyoming like right on the outside. If they win this game, they would be ranked. I think I would even keep Air Force depending on what happens, because at the end of the day, thus far, I think Air Force is the best team in the group of 5. I truly do. James Madison doesn't count because they can't actually
compete,
garbage rules.
More dumb rules.
Crazy.
We don't understand why they implement, but they do.
Speaking of college basketball, rip to Bellarmine. I mean, what are we doing?
I know exactly
how they punish these teams for moving up and being so good so early and so successful. Beyond me. Merrimack a few years ago, robbing these kids doesn't make sense. I am taking Air Force though. Like I really do.
Okay.
I love this team. I think the way that Zach Larrier, their quarterback, orchestrates their offense, it is truly amazing. Their offense is just a masterpiece to watch. The explosive plays that they'll have. Larrier is a track start too, so you've got a track start quarterback that's making the great reads in an option game. It's frightening to play
and against. They're the number 1 rushing offense in college football.
They have dudes everywhere. I love this Air Force team. I think that they are entering the season. I thought they were the second best team in the Mountain West, but I thought that there was a drop off from Boise State to Air Force. think Air Force is the clear-cut best team in the Mountain West. I love Wyoming as well. I'm sorry to the Pokes, but
I know it's
Air
tough.
Force team is dangerous, and I don't think people are really realizing that yet because it's the Air Force. Like, they're not going to get the respect.
Dude, football in the state of Colorado is just taking a fascinating turn this year. I mean, it's like everybody's eyes are on that state, which is just crazy. And yeah, I'm gonna have to ride with Air Force too on this one. I mean, I could not tell you the last time Air Force was this good, or even really any of the military schools, to be honest, because this rushing offense is dynamic and explosive, and it's fun to see. It's fun to see, and they're like favored by 10.5, which is crazy because Wyoming is it's a really good team.
That says a lot. And I think what's going to happen is people are going to take the bait of Wyoming plus 10, 10.5, 11, whatever. And I think Air Force is just going to whoop them. I think that's what's going to happen. These guys, man, they generate so many explosive plays. The words do not do it justice. This team, one of my favorite teams to watch in the country. My brother has jumped on the Air Force trip. The ship, he's had so much fun watching them. My friends are all in on Air Force.
Everybody's in. Now I'm in on Air Force. I'm going to be excited for this game.
I've got people tweeting me like slips of them betting Air Force. Like, this is the most fun team I have to watch. They respect my money every week. Like,
is this your new Ohio?
These guys.
Is this your new Ohio?
I don't.
You don't know.
I love Ohio so much. There's always teams I just fall in love with, right? And that's the beauty of the sport, because one season you might hate an Air Force team, and then a few years later you're loving an Air Force team. And I've never hated an Air Force team, but like I've hated other teams. I've hated other teams, and like a few years later, like I've really come to love them in a certain season. Yeah. It's kind of just fun to think about. Like, I've loved Coastal in years past, and this Coastal team, I don't feel the spark.
Yeah,
that's because it's
I get that. I get that.
USC Notre Dame is our next game. This is another one of those kind of coin flip games. I don't know where to go. Both teams have struggled recently. What Notre Dame just went through, I think I needed to tweet this out. I didn't tweet it out. I think it could be best compared to. So they have the Ohio State game that they lose that they should have won. They have the Duke game that they should have lost that they won, and they have the Louisville game, which is just an emotional letdown spot. There was a lot of fatigue and lethargicism shown. Lethargicism is even the word. If not, they were just very lethargic.
It was the best Louisville atmosphere I've seen in years. So.
It was since Lamar. Yeah, it really was. But I think that 3-game stretch could be compared to is a pretty good tennis player. And he's out there in a tournament. He makes the quarters, and he loses a match that maybe he should have won. Let's say he loses in a tiebreak in the third set. Then he comes back the next week, the next tournament, incredible tournament, wins it. Some tough matches that he had to face. Fended off some really tough like match points or something, and that's the comparison to now, beating Duke, surviving them. Then what happens the next week, the next tournament? Well, you were feeling the lowest of lows after the tournament. You could have won a match, you could have won. Then you win, and you're riding high. And then you come crashing down because your motivation's not there. You're thinking about last week, the week before. You're reminiscing about a tournament you just won. I think that's what happened to Notre Dame. I think that they were way too focused on the exhilarating defeat of Duke and the improbable, and how they flipped the script from a week before against Ohio State. And I just think that everything came crashing, and they were lethargic against Louisville. And I think Louisville's a fine team, and it's crazy that Louisville team could go 12-0, because I really don't think that they're that good.
It's mind-blowing.
It is. It really is. And I don't know who to pick here, because the second half of SC's schedule, it's a gauntlet. And this is what we talked about so often coming into the season. There has never been a tale of two seasons more than SC's first 6 games versus their final 6 games. And it's not encouraging to see SC let Colorado back into the game and then struggle with Arizona and they struggled with Arizona State a good bit, and I kind of looked by that one, just whatever. Well, if those issues are going to exist in these final 6 games, well, golly, my prediction of 9-3 looks mighty good. It really does, and every day that Alex Grinch is employed is a mistake. It
yeah.
is. And I don't know who I'm picking. I have it written down as I'm taking SC, and once I make a pick, it's final. I can't switch it. I don't know who to pick. What's the spread? I really don't know.
I looked at the spread. It was 3 Notre Dame, and
I think I'm going to take Notre Dame.
I think I am too, because Sam Hartman needs to have a game where he breaks out and like has an amazing performance besides the week 0 game against Navy. He needs to carry them, and if he's going to do that, it's going to be against Alex Grinch's defense.
It is.
So it's like this is it. This is it.
Your first words there almost made me switch back to SC, because that reminded me Notre Dame's offense is just the passing attack should be so much more than this. They need to play fast. They need more strikes downfield. Use Mitchell Evans like Georgia uses Brock Bowers, like a cheat code, just unlimited stuff. And
yeah,
I'm taking Notre Dame though. I'm gonna ride with you on this one, and
okay,
this is gonna be tough.
It is gonna be tough because Marcus Freeman needs to step up big time as the head coach of this team. Like they're just riding this emotional roller coaster every week. So like they need to figure their stuff out. That's basically
this one's tough. Like it's a win-loss for me because I had SD going 9-3, and I said Notre Dame. I really think that's an 8-14, and like
we could spend all day on it, man. It's tough. It's a tough one.
One of them losing makes me look right, but if one of them wins, I look wrong. Miami against North Carolina is up next. I have 2 words: North Carolina.
We could literally fly by this one, which is what I think Tez is going to do, because I don't know how that locker room is going to recover for Miami. Like those images after that game, it looked like a movie, dude. Like just some of the reactions. I don't know how they're going to be able to come out and emotionally go against this offense. And I think it's a storm's brewing in Chapel Hill. And I think that Miami's in for a very rude awakening. And what was supposed to be a pretty decent start to their season it's going to fall apart like that. Like the big win over A&M. Yeah, it's Miami for you. Like everything looks like it's going right, and then it just doesn't.
I cannot believe that I ranked that team coming off their bye week, because I had them unranked and I ranked them after the bye week, and was like, I felt like I was just overlooking it. So I felt like, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to rank them. And in the back of my head the whole time was just like, they can't lose to Georgia Tech. There is no way. There is no way. There is no.
They can't lose to a team that lost to Bowling Green. There's just no way.
And then
they do.
It's
dumbfounding.
It is, and I feel awful for every player on that team, because while they didn't have their best showing, they still deserve to win a football game. They still deserve to be undefeated.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was coaching malpractice, and I feel terrible for the kids.
Exactly. They won the game, like it was theirs, and then it's crazy. Yeah, they did.
They did, and I think North Carolina. The addition of Tez Walker takes this team from a good team to a really good team. He is that.
Drake May's got his weapon. He's got his weapon.
Finally, Missouri, Kentucky's our next game. It's a tough week. Like maybe we should have had a coin flip for another guest picker, because a lot of these games are truly toss-ups. I just don't really like this Kentucky team, and I don't think that they should be ranked. I didn't think that they should be ranked going into the Georgia game. I thought that the beatdown that we saw was pretty expected, and I'm gonna take Missouri in this one. I think, hey man, throw Luther Burr in the rock and you're chilling. And Devin Leary was really good 2 years ago. He's been awful ever since. There is zero threat in Kentucky's passing game, I'm gonna just have to ride with Mizzou here and trust.
It's unfortunate because I like the Kentucky receivers, Key and Brown. Like, I think they're really good. It's just, is Leary dealing with an injury or like still, or what's going on?
I mean, he had gotten hurt in that 2022 season with NC State, and maybe still feeling the effects of that. He just looks like a completely different player than he did in 2021. It's really sad to see. Yeah, he's just bad now. Like, he is just the Monstars took away his powers. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So like it sucks because I thought it was going to be a little bit closer than it was in my opinion, but I'm not the expert. You are. And I was proven very wrong about Kentucky in the Georgia game. Georgia destroyed them. So I think I'm going to ride with Missouri because they've looked at least impressive this year, and they have a quarterback that can at least get their weapons to the ball. So that I'll go with Missouri there too for my good friend Scott Fisher. I'm sure he'll like to hear me say that. So there you go.
And they do have a kicker who is pretty automatic.
He can make it from 63. Yeah.
I love Harrison Mevis.
Yeah.
America's kicker. UCLA, Oregon State is our next game. This one is very difficult because Oregon State, I never thought Oregon State would give up 40 in the game. And they just did to Cal. I never thought they'd play a 52-40 game under Jonathan Smith. Like, that's crazy. I think that what we're going to see, both these teams, no matter who loses, they should still be ranked. UCLA becoming unranked after the loss to Utah was voting malpractice. Not sure what was going on with voters there. I'm going to take Oregon State here because I think that their defense is going to lock in and play better ball than they have in the last few weeks. I think that's going to really dictate things here, because while Dante Moore is special and he's going to be a first-round pick in the face of an NFL franchise, as many of us believe, he's still got to work some things out as a true freshman does, and that's okay. You grow you grow as you learn. You grow as you make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. I think I hate doing the two quarterback thing. I hate it. If you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. To a sense, I've been proven wrong here because I love what Jonathan Smith has done the last two games for Oregon State. He has scripted. He has told DJ, he has told Aiden Childs, third drive of the game, Aiden Childs has taken the quarterback reps. He's our quarterback for a third drive. It's
interesting.
It's fascinating. And I'm a huge Aiden Childs guy. I think he's going to be a star in this sport.
Yeah, I remember people saying before the season that he was the better quarterback in camp.
Like, he is a special quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating and rare situation where I think playing two quarterbacks is good because it's benefiting both guys. It's getting Aiden Childs reps, valuable Pac-12 reps before who knows what happens to Oregon State and what conference they'll be in next year, and if Childs will even be there. And it's helping Childs get out good tape if he needs a transfer. I think it's a very nice thing of Jonathan Smith to do, whether he realizes that it's putting out good portal tape for Childs or not. But it is also motivating DJU. It is each drive following Childs coming in, DJ looks like he's got people to prove wrong, doubters to become believers, and just he becomes this unleashed 99 overall quarterback that is making every throw, just pristine pocket presence and throwing zips downfield. And it again, I use the word fascinating because it's fascinating to see a two quarterback system, which is not even really a system. It's just one drive scripted for Childs. He gets a good rep. He helps the offense out. And then DJ comes in and is balling. It's crazy. So I didn't mean to spend so long on this game. But one more thing is UCLA secondary, I think, is mediocre. The defense is phenomenal because the pass rush, the front seven. UCLA might have the best, they've got a top 3 pass rush in the country. Latu is made so much money this season, and matchup between UCLA's pass rush and Oregon State's offensive line is worth price of admission, man.
I know. Yeah. So you're going with Oregon State?
I am going with Oregon State, yes.
Okay. All right. I think I'm also going to go with Oregon State. I have to pick both the Oregon teams this weekend. So I'm riding with the Beavers too. There. Yeah, I'm riding with the Beavers as well. So I think that I think UCLA, they like Chip Kelly, he's really fallen under the radar because people had such high expectations when he came to UCLA. They're like, he's going to revive the Oregon offense there. And to just see them be so good on defense is, especially the front seven, it's honestly, it's refreshing. And I'm just glad that he's at least doing good there. You know, like I'm just glad that UCLA is at least competitive.
It's been a very up and down tenure for Chip. As a UCLA guy, sometimes I just love Chip, and other times I'm very skeptical. But the concepts that they run on offense are incredible to see. There's a lot of innovative stuff which I love, and I just love being able to take clips from a UCLA game and tweet them out like they're on this and this is pretty sick, and then seeing the NFL team possibly use that look a little later is very cool. We're gonna go into our final game now. Montana, Idaho, ESPN2, big time. Obviously I'm taking Idaho here. Come on.
Same.
Idaho sent me a shirt and some stickers, which was pretty cool. I really appreciate
That's awesome.
that. Yeah. Then Montana head coach Bobby Hauck said this after last year's loss to Idaho. They made a total of 2 plays on offense. Then when he was asked about the success of Javon McCoy in Idaho that they had through the air, he said, passing yards are empty calories. Bobby, what are we doing? What are we doing? So what's going to happen here? A Montana team that already inexplicably lost to Northern Arizona. How did that happen? I don't know. We have an ESPN2 national broadcast late night at the Kibby Dome. At the Kibby Dome.
I don't know when the last time the Kibby Dome was on national TV.
Like on our TVs, on our monitors when we were playing NCAA football.
Exactly. That's why I'm really excited. You woke me up to something I did not realize was on my radar. You told me about this game and I'm just like, I don't know, FCS. Am I going to watch this with my Saturday? I'm in. I'm all in. I'm very excited for this.
No way Idaho loses at the Kibby Dome national television. There is no way. Give me Idaho in this one by 2 touchdowns. This is a special team that can go all the way to the national championship and win the national championship. Javon McCoy is an incredible. They have the best quarterback receiver duo in the country. I'll leave it at that. Javon McCoy, and they've got other good pieces too. Those 2 guys, Jason Eck's an elite coach, elite social media team.
I love Jason Eck. He's awesome. Yeah, I do know a lot about him.
The cannonball he did before the season, and just he's a good guy.
He's a character. And we need those guys. And maybe one day he'll be in the FBS, changing somebody's program around. We'll see. But yeah, I'm excited for this game, and thanks for telling me about it because I didn't have it on my radar, but now I do. And the Kibby Dome is gonna be rocking.
And then in this era where so much realignment is happening, there's success from FCS to FBS, but the ultra rare case here of a FBS to FCS success story.
Yeah.
Very dope.
It is.
All right, man. Well, that'll do it for our picks and everything. And that's going to do it for the podcast as well. I really appreciate you coming on, talking ball, complaining about rule changes, praising the Kibby Dome.
Kibby Dome.
Making some coin flip picks. And I really appreciate you doing this.
Again, thanks for having me.
Yeah, for those listening, please make sure to go to Cole's channel on the YouTubes and subscribe to him and give him some love and follow him on Twitter and stuff. His ad's been on the screen the whole time. So if you haven't followed him,
thank you.
You're tripping. So get that done. And any last words from you, Cole?
I'm excited to see what happens in the Kibby Dome, and thank you for having me on. And I really appreciate talking ball with you, man. I enjoy talking to a fellow sicko, as we are college football fans.
We are sickos, proud sickos.
Proud sickos. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, Thank you again. Please make sure to for those listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, to like and subscribe and comment below your prediction for the York and Washington game or some other game, players you're looking forward to watching, etc. And can't wait to just talk ball. And we'll see you next week for our recap of week 7.